In this video, we'll be walking through the initial setup of the Sophos mobile control server. We'll need to do this in order to enroll devices. We'll find all the settings we need under the setup link here, and today we'll be focusing on the general, administrators, and system setup submenus. Let's start by digging into general settings. In the personal tab, you've got your personal settings as an administrator, language, time zone, table settings, and which platforms you cover as an admin. If you deselect Windows Mobile, for instance, those elements will be hidden from you in the interface. In the next tab, you can change your own password if it's not linked to Active Directory. Password policies, you can set these here for internal Sophos mobile users not linked to Active Directory or another LDAP source. The SMC app tab lets you define whether or not your users can unenroll their devices themselves from within the Sophos mobile control apps running on their phones and tablets. This can be useful for bring your own device scenarios. The email configuration section contains the email address that users will see as messages are sent out from the SMC server, so make sure to change this to something you use within your organization and select your preferred language. In the next tab, you can input the technical contact details. These will be shown inside the SMC app that lives on your users' devices. Moving into the administrators section, we see a list of people who have access to the admin interface. You can create administrators here and, depending on your configuration, link them to an Active Directory if needed. We have a handful of available roles. Administrator has full access. Limited administrator can't change system settings. Reporting can read things but not change them. Content admin lets you change the documents here but nothing else. Help desk can lock and wipe devices but not change any policies. And app group administrator can configure which app groups are defined. If you find you need more granularity over your roles, there's an additional custom roles editor available, so please contact your Sophos partner or rep for more details. And now to the last section we'll cover today, system setup. License details is pretty straightforward. You've got your maximum number of licenses, how many are being used, and how long they're valid. Now this next tab is very important. This is where you'll need to set up your iOS APNS certificate. If you manage iOS devices, you need this certificate. It's mandated by Apple. There's no way around it. Follow the steps in this section to create an Apple ID, create a certificate, then upload it into the system. It'll have to be renewed once per year, so make sure you don't forget your Apple ID and password. You'll need to re-enroll all your devices otherwise. iOS AirPlay lets you remotely support Apple devices. You can add those devices to the list here. This will allow you to see the user's screen for troubleshooting purposes. Now if you want to use personal certificates, you can set them up here under the SCEP tab. If you've got an SCEP server, enter its details here. The SMC server will then act as a proxy to send the certificates out to the mobile devices. And finally, the user setup section lets you choose whether or not to authenticate users against an Active Directory. This must be defined before you enroll devices. It can't be changed afterward, so make sure you're okay with your choice of user management mode.